Hey, everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What is shaking on your Monday night? Hope everything's groovy for you. There's old Karen Garvey. She says, hello, Tom and chat. Of course, we do have the most cheerful chat room on the internet, as verified by independent sources. I am today going to tell you about Mr. Bob Hope. That's right. Because this weekend, I think there were 3 to 6 people in our members' watch party that watched My Favorite Brunette. We had a heck of a time. And I ate an entire bag of Smart Food popcorn with nacho cheese Dorito flavoring on it. And it was awesome. It was the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, frankly, I think, in recent memory. It was really great. Hey, if you could, like, share, subscribe, do those free things. Just a clickety. It's all it takes is a clickety. A clickety. It's just a clickety. And, like, share, subscribe, retweet, all those things. And we will serve the almighty algorithm, which, of course, is very demanding. It's a very demanding thing. Oh, wow. We'll see 9 YouTube, 1 Facebook, 3 Twitter. So YouTube, you're doing great, YouTube. Right now, we'll see how things go. Oh boy, let's see what to report. Oh yes. I called the good people at Cafe Press today, and I spoke to a lady named Pat. And Pat was very nice. She was a very nice person. Randy, chef's in the house. And clickety click, says Diana. Clickety, it just takes a clickety. And I spoke to Pat, and I asked Pat, I said, why did my page's URL change? Why did the design change? And why did all the prices go sky high? And she said, well, I don't know if you keep up with the forum, but they've been announcing it on the forum. And I went, well, Pat, it may surprise you to know that in the many years since I built that page and wrote all the copy and did all the designs and everything, I don't regularly monitor the forum. I'm sorry. I just don't really keep track of the forum. You know what I do keep track of, though, Pat, is my email, you see. And typically you would get an email 45, 30 days out, and then you get a reminder email, and then you get an email, and then they would tell you that everything's bupkis. So I managed to change the URL to the correct URL, but redesigning the page is going to take a ton. And guess what? I won an award, an actual award for the copy on that website. An award I won. A digital advertising award issued by my peers. It's all gone now. There is no more copy. I wish I could say that I had a copy of the copy, but I didn't make a copy of the copy because it was on the website, and I figured, what do I need a copy for? And that bit me in the tuchus. So, yeah. As Chief Emily says, that sounds made up. Sounded that way to me, too. But she was really nice. She goes, they do a lot of changes and things around here, too, and we don't know anything about it until it happens. And I said, Pat, I feel your pain. The difference, of course, being that you're being paid for that, and I'm, of course, not. And so I guess I have something to do this weekend. But if you want to pay $75, oh, by the way, instead of the $2 to $3 markup I had on all the items, they marked them all up 20%, which is way more than I would have marked them up. So I looked at the thing; they're all 20% down the line. So that's the answer to that little mystery. Do I have any coffee left? Oh, God, I'm out of coffee. So tomorrow, I don't know for sure there's going to be a show tomorrow. Because tomorrow I have to go to a place that's on the other side of the large metropolis that I live in. And then at the 5 o'clock morning bell, I got to come all the way back over here. And by the time I get here, it's going to be the time the show would normally start, which is 7 Eastern, 6 Central. And I'm pretty sure I can put a show together by, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. But I'm not positive. And if I can't, then there won't be a show. But if I can, there will be a show. And then also, I know there's not going to be a show Wednesday because that's a replayables night. And I don't want to step on those guys. And I super don't want to wait till the end of their show, given the fact that Saturday night, Killing It with the Ables, started 3.5 hours late. And I, like a fool, stayed up the 3.5 hours because I love that show. And then watched the show. It was a great show. But then by that time, it was so late. And I was sleepy all day on Sunday. And I, of course, didn't take a nap or anything. I did all my Sunday things. And so I was tired all day today. It was a cascading effect of tiredness. It's like dominoes. And so now here I sit. And I have a ton of things to do tonight to prepare for tomorrow, at which time I will have to get up much earlier than I have been recently. And so, got to cut my hair. I got to disconnect and load up my computer. Got to eat. All sorts of things. Just jam-packing my schedule. I sound like Bob Levy right now. Diana Bryan says, Hubby's has his pre-op Wednesday. I hope that goes well for you, Diana. I hope it goes very well for you. Randy says, how about a show of Led Zeppelin sometime? Well, if you, the home viewer, want a show on Led Zeppelin, I could be persuaded to do one. I am not a fan of the Led Zeppelin. I recognize that Led Zeppelin is probably the most influential, what we would call heavy metal group of all time, and I respect their place in popular music history. But I have been beaten to death with Led Zeppelin since I was a lad, and so therefore I can't listen to anymore. Oh boy, I was worried we weren't going to get to know what Aku is working on right now. Currently grinding Rust. Boss keeps adding to the fix list. Well, he is a boss. That's what the boss does. Dana Brand says, me too. Been a long time coming. Well, good. I'm glad to get that taken care of, and hopefully he's feeling fit and fiddle in no time. And that's a phrase I love. And I hope Aku gets through the rust very quickly. Because nothing's worse than rust, especially boss, decreed rust. Yes. Say, everybody, let's see. Hopefully we find a southern box. Yes, hopefully. And I hope you do. And if I knew what a southern box was, I would hope that even more. But you don't have to tell me what it is. I'm good with the fact that you know. I had said for a long time, I thought Bob Hope had a birthday day before me, or day after me. Actually, his birthday was the day before mine. So, there you are. And let me tell you about one Bob Hope, who up to 6 people watched on our watch party yesterday. Now might be a good time to mention, if we have any more 6 people watch parties, I don't know that we're going to keep doing watch parties. We got to have at least 10. Come on, man. At least 10. At least 10. I had seen that movie, too. It was a really funny movie. But Bob Hope's real name was not Bob. No, his real name was Leslie Towns Hope. Yes. And I'll get into why he went by Bob a little later. But he was a British-born American comedian, actor, entertainer, and producer with a career that spanned nearly 80 years, with achievements in vaudeville, network radio, television, and, of course, his legendary USO tours. He appeared in more than 70 short and feature films. He starred in 54 of those, and those, of course, included a series of 7 road pictures with his longtime friend, Bing Crosby. My favorite is The Road to Morocco. We're off on the road to Morocco. It's such a good song. Here's a little thing you might want to know. And this record will never be broken, by the way. Never be broken. Bob Hope hosted the Academy Awards 19 times. Yes. He also appeared on stage and television. He wrote 14 books. The song "Thanks for the Memory" was his signature tune. He was well known for his comedic timing, one-liners, rapid-fire delivery of jokes that were many times self-deprecating. Between 1941 and 1991, he made 57 tours for the USO, entertaining military personnel around the world. And in Congress in 1997, passed a bill that made him an honorary veteran of the armed forces. Yes, he was born in southeast London, and he arrived in the U.S. at the age of 4, grew up near Cleveland, Ohio, became a boxer in the 1910s, but went into the show business field in the 1920s, initially as a comedian and dancer before acting on Broadway. He began appearing on radio and in films starting in 1934. He retired from public life in 1998 at the age of 95, and he died in 2003 at the age of 100 years old. Yes. He was actually the 5th of 7 sons. And, they immigrated to the United States, went through Ellis Island, and then moved to Cleveland. From the age of 12, Bob Hope earned money by singing. Let me see here. Thanks for the Memory, by the way, is a great song. I'll tell you a little bit more about it later. Because it has to do with his rise to what we would call stardom. Incidentally, as a boxer, Bob Hope was a super featherweight, 128 pounds. He was 5 foot 10 inches tall. So come on, 5'10", 128. He was a skinny fella at the time. He was 3-1. 3 wins and a loss. How about that? He earned pocket money by singing, dancing, and performing comedy on the street. He would enter amateur dancing and other talent contests as Lester Hope, and he won a prize in 1915 for his impersonation of Charlie Chaplin. He attended the Boys Industrial School in Lancaster, Ohio, after a certain time. And as an adult, he donated big chunks of money to that particular institution. His name as a boxer was Packy East. Yes. He also would participate in staged charity bouts later in his life. His brothers and he, at the age of 17, he became a U.S. citizen when their parents became naturalized Americans. In 1921, while working as a lineman for a power company, I am a lineman for the county, and I ride the main road, searching in the sun for another overload. Anyway, he was assisting his brother Jim in clearing trees when a tree crashed to the ground, crushed his face. And the accident required several reconstructive surgeries, which contributed to his distinct appearance, his swoop nose and all that other stuff. He also worked as a butcher's assistant. Hope and his girlfriend later signed up for dancing lessons encouraged after they performed in a 3-day engagement at a club. He then formed a partnership with Lloyd Durbin, a friend from the dancing school. Silent comedian Fatty Arbuckle saw them perform in 1925 and found them work with a touring troupe called Hurley's Jolly Follies. Within a year, Hope had formed an act called the Dance Medians with George Byrne and the Hilton Sisters. The Hilton Sisters, by the way, were co-joined twins who had this tap dancing routine they would do on the vaudeville circuit. And Hope and Byrne, not one to shy away from, really, also had an act as Siamese twins. But people told Hope that he was funnier by himself. So in 1929, he sort of informally changed his first name to Bob. There's a couple versions of why he did this. In one version of the story, he named himself after race car driver Bob Berman. You know Bob Berman. In another, he said that he chose the name because he wanted a name with a friendly, "Hiya, fellas," sound to it. But in a 1942 legal document, his legal name still appears as Lester Towns Hope, and it's unknown whether that reflects a legal name change from Leslie. Nobody knows. After 5 years on the vaudeville circuit, Hope was surprised and humbled when he failed a 1930 screen test for RKO. Anyway, in his early days of his career, his appearances mostly were on stage and in Broadway productions. He performed on the radio in 1934, mostly with NBC Radio, and switched to television when that medium became popular in the 50s. He started hosting regular TV specials in 1954 and hosted the Academy Awards, as I mentioned, 19 times from 1939 to 1977. Overlapping with this was his movie career, which started in 1934 and ended in 1972, and his USO tours, which went from 1941 to 1991, a full 50 years. So anyway, he did one educational picture for a company called Educational Pictures, and they signed him for 6 movies. But he did one, and he wasn't very happy with it. He told newspaper columnist Walter Winchell, you guys remember Walter Winchell, don't you? "Good evening, North America and all the ships at sea. Bulletin, flash." And that was Walter Winchell. He also narrated the opening of The Untouchables. And he said, "When they catch Dillinger, they're going to make him sit through that movie twice." Well, Educational Pictures took umbrage at the remark, and they canceled his contract after only the one film. He then signed with Vitaphone, but he moved to Hollywood when Paramount Pictures signed him for the 1938 film The Big Broadcast of 1938, which also starred W.C. Fields. Now, these big broadcast movies were quite popular at the time because they were kind of an assemblage of all the hot talent, the up-and-coming talent in Hollywood. So if you look into it, there's the Big Broadcast of 1933, the Big Broadcast of 1934. They were very popular. And that is where the song, "Thanks for the Memory," which later became his trademark, was introduced in the film with a duet with Shirley Ross. Shirley Ross was an actress and a singer, and probably best known, even though she had an incredible career, she probably, over a long period of time, is best known for singing this duet with him. So his writers took hold of this song, and they used it for all sorts of things, introducing him, various shows, but also bidding farewell to the troops while on tour, or mentioning the names of towns that he was in when he was performing. "Thanks for the memory of sentimental verse, of nothing in my purse, and chuckles when the preacher said, for better or for worse, how lovely it was." It's a sentimental song. It's a really nice song. If you've never heard it, you can find it on YouTube. In fact, you can find that actual version of it from the Big Broadcast of 1938. Now, as a film star, I better give you guys a different picture to look at, shall I? Here, I'll just throw this in. I'll have USO pictures later. Here is Bob Hope meeting General Patton. That's how big Bob Hope was. He got to meet General Patton, and this is during World War II. Bob Hope, of course, started with the USO in 1941 in the midst of World War II. As a movie star, he was known for such comedies as, and those of you who joined us in the members-only watch party this weekend saw My Favorite Brunette and the incredibly successful Road Pictures. He and Crosby were the top box office draw in the movies throughout the 40s. And they had The Road to Singapore, The Road to Zanzibar, The Road to Morocco. Road to Morocco is by far my favorite, I got to tell you. Road to Utopia, Road to Rio. Now, The Road to Bali and The Road to Hong Kong, don't even watch them. They're old and it's not as good. When they made these movies, Paramount executives were amazed at how relaxed and compatible, Hope and Crosby were together. But what the executives didn't know was that Hope and Crosby had already worked together on vaudeville. And that was just an extension of their old stage act. Now, Bob Hope had seen Dorothy Lamour, who's known, through the Road Pictures, as well as being the host of Seal Test Variety Theater and a big star in her own right, and the star of My Favorite Brunette. He'd seen her performing as a nightclub singer in New York, and he invited her to work for the USO. And she sometimes arrived for filming with these guys on the Road Pictures only to be baffled by completely rewritten script or completely ad-libbed dialogue between Hope and Crosby. But she was so quick on her feet and such a good sport that she just traded it with them every time. And both of those guys said that throughout their career. They're like, hey, these movies, they're just as much Dorothy Lamour as they are us. Hope and Lamour were lifelong friends, and she remains the actress most associated with his film career. Let me just give you a shot of the Hope and Crosby and Lamour movies. He did movies with Katharine Hepburn, Paulette Goddard, Hedy Lamarr, Lucille Ball, Rosemary Clooney, Jane Russell, and Elke Summer. They didn't just appear together, Hope and Crosby, for the Road Pictures, though. They were on stage, on radio. They did each other's radio shows a million times. I mean, Bing Crosby hosted Kraft Music Hall, and Bob Hope, he hosted the Pepsodent show with Bob Hope, and on television as well, until Crosby died in 1977. Now, these guys, and this one thing that a lot of people don't know, Bob Hope was a super rich guy. Obviously he made tons of money from his entertainment career, but he invested in oil leases and other business ventures, including real estate in Southern California, and he was just hugely wealthy from that. These guys worked together a lot, and they lived very close to each other, but they rarely saw each other socially. So after The Road to Singapore was released, Hope's movie career just went skyrocket. And, he was in 54 movies between 38 and 72. And he was disappointed with his appearance in Cancel My Reservation in 1972, his last starring film. He didn't get good reviews, and he did make some cameos into the 80s, one of which was in Spies Like Us. He was, as I mentioned, host of the Academy Awards 19 times, and he said, "Welcome to the Academy Awards in 1968, or as it's known at my house, Passover." Although he was never nominated for an Oscar competitively, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences honored him with 4 honorary awards, and in 1960 presented him with the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award, given each year as part of the Oscar ceremony. His career in broadcasting began on radio in 1934. Let me see if I can find another good picture for you guys. Here's a great one. This is Cary Grant, Clark Gable, and David Niven all doing something together and just laughing their little butts off. You know what I'm saying? They're laughing their little heinies off is what they're doing. His first regular show on NBC was the Woodbury Soap Hour in 1937, and that was on a 26-week contract. A year later, The Pepsodent Show, starring Bob Hope, began, and Hope signed a 10-year contract with the show's sponsor, Lever Brothers, which still exists today and make a lot of different soap and other things. He hired 8 writers and paid them out of his salary of $2,500 a week. And some of the best writers ever were on his staff, one of which was a man named Sherwood Schwartz, who you might know better as the producer of Gilligan's Island. And the staff eventually grew to 15. The show became the top radio program in the country. Jerry Colonna and some others that you won't know the name of, and I do because I'm worthless and have a sickness for old-time radio, were on his show. He continued his lucrative career in radio into the 1950s. And at that point, radio's popularity began to be overshadowed by the television medium. So on TV, he did many specials for NBC. He was very closely associated for NBC, and he was one of the first people to use cue cards because Bob Hope did not write all that many of his jokes. He had a team of writers that would write them for him. Now, he knew how to spot good jokes, and he would occasionally write some jokes. But he really relied upon his writers quite a bit. The shows were often sponsored by Frigidaire, General Motors, Chrysler, and Texaco. Texaco was the big sponsor when I was a kid, and I remember. Hope's Christmas specials were popular favorites and often featured a performance of Silver Bells. That was his big thing at Christmas time. From his 1951 film, The Lemon Drop Kid, and he did it with a duet type of a feel, always with a much younger female guest star like Barbara Mandrell, Olivia Newton-John. I know the Wolf is watching, so Barbara Eden, or Brooke Shields, or his wife Dolores, who was a former Stinger, with whom he duetted on 2 specials. And we'll get into his relationship with Dolores in a moment. On April 26, 1970, CBS released the Raquel Welch television special Raquel, and Hope is a guest on it. The 1970 and 71 Christmas specials of Bob Hope for NBC were filmed in Vietnam in front of military audiences at the height of the war, and are on the list of the top 46 U.S. network primetime telecasts. Both were seen by more than 60% of the U.S. households watching television. Let me just get you a USO picture here, too, because those shows were really, really good. They weren't just novelties. They were actually really quality, and you could predict what was going to happen on them. I mean, it wasn't like they were doing different things each time. They was pretty standard schedule of things that would happen in a Bob Hope USO special, but they were just really good. The people he got were really talented. They were written really well. And, of course, the crowd was just insanely enthusiastic about the fact that Bob Hope was there performing for them. The most unusual of his specials was Joys, a parody of murder mystery narratives where the audience discovers at the end of the broadcast that Johnny Carson was the villain. So, while aboard the RMS Queen Mary when World War II began in September of 1939, Hope volunteered to perform a special show for the passengers during which he sang Thanks for the Memory with rewritten lyrics, especially for that occasion. He performed his first official USO show May 6, 1941 at March Field in California, and he continued to travel and entertain troops for the rest of World War II, later the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and the third phase of the Lebanon Civil War, latter years of the Iran-Iraq War, and the Persian Gulf War. Half a century, 57 times, oftentimes in battle-threatened areas. He had a deep respect for the men and women who served in the armed forces, and he would go anywhere to entertain them. During the Vietnam War, he had trouble convincing some performers to join him because of the controversy of that war, but he was accompanied on at least one U.S. tour by Anne Margaret. Anti-war sentiment was high. His pro-troop stance made him a target of criticism in some quarters. Some shows were drowned out by boos. Others listened to in silence. The tours were funded by the U.S. Department of Defense, and Hope's television sponsors and NBC created a special after each tour from footage shot on location. However, the footage in the shows were owned by Hope's production company, which made them extremely lucrative ventures for them. He sometimes recruited his own family members for the tours, his wife Dolores, his granddaughter Miranda, and one of his U.S. shows in World War II, novelist John Steinbeck was there and was marveled at how driven Hope was to put on a great show for these people. Along with his best friend, Bing Crosby, Hope was offered a commission in the United States Navy as lieutenant commander during World War II, but FDR got involved and said, I think it'd be better if we didn't do that. A couple of other things you might not know about Bob Hope. He was into sports car racing. He became part owner of the Riverside International Raceway in Moreno Valley, California, along with Los Angeles Rams' co-owner at the time, Fred Levy Jr., and oil tycoon Ed Pauley. And he put in $800,000. Yeah. He made later appearances in his career. He did a guest appearance on The Golden Girls called You Gotta Have Hope, in which Rose is convinced that Bob Hope is her father. He made an appearance as himself, yes, himself, on The Simpsons in an episode entitled Lisa the Beauty Queen. Toward the end of his career, his vision was getting very bad, and he was unable to read his cue cards. And in 96, he announced he was ending his 60-year contract with NBC, joking he decided to become a free agent. And there you go. So he made his last TV appearance in a 1997 commercial about the introduction of Big Kmart that was directed by Penny Marshall. Hope to help us actually establish modern American stand-up comedy. His timing, his one-liners, rapid-fire delivery of jokes. He was known for that self-deprecating humor, building himself up, then tearing himself down. He was also known in his movies for a lot of inside jokes. He would break the fourth wall a lot. Now, he didn't have any faith of his skills as a dramatic actor, and his performances that had dramatic acting were not well received whatsoever. He never really adapted his persona or his routines at all. And when Hollywood went to New Hollywood in the 60s, the sort of the more mod things, he didn't like that. And, he was sort of condescending about it. He was an avid golfer. Everybody knows about his golfing. He was just incredible. He was very highly sought after by famous people, including Dwight D. Eisenhower, for a member of their foursome. And of course, he loved to golf, so he would frequently go. When Dwight D. Eisenhower gave up golf for painting, Bob Hope remarked, "Fewer strokes," He was quoted as saying, "It's wonderful how you can start out with 3 strangers in the morning, play 18 holes, and by the time the day is over, you have 3 solid enemies." Anyway, a golf club actually became a prop for him during his TV appearances in USO shows. In 1978, he putted against then 2-year-old Tiger Woods in a TV appearance with Jimmy Stewart on the Mike Douglas Show. The Bob Hope Classic, founded in 1960, made history when in 1995, Hope teed up in the opening round with a foursome that included Presidents Gerald Ford, George H.W. Bush, and Bill Clinton, the only time 3 presidents played in the same golf foursome. The event's now known as the Career Builder Challenge, and it's pretty popular tournament. It's a nice tournament. What do you want me to say? It's a nice tournament. Give it up for Bob Hope. Okay, so here's some other sports things, and I knew this, that he had a huge interest in sports beyond golf and his professional boxing. In 1946, and this was often brought up in jokes in the movies and on the radio, he bought a very small stake in the Cleveland Indians baseball team. And he held on to that stake for the rest of his life. Yeah. He also, and I did not know this. You got to get up pretty early in the morning to not know something about something like this. For me, or other words that make more sense, he bought a share, along with Bing Crosby, of the Los Angeles Rams in 1947. Now, he did sell it in 1962, but he also used his TV specials to promote the annual AP College Football All-American team. The players would come on stage one by one, introduce themselves, and then Hope, often dressed in a football uniform, would give a one-liner about the player or the school. And I remember that. That was a big deal. All right, here we go. Hope was briefly married to vaudeville partner Grace Louise Troxel, a secretary from Chicago who was the daughter of some people. They were married on January 25th, 1933 in Erie, Pennsylvania, but they divorced in November of 1934, okay? He gets divorced. The following month, singer Dolores Reed joined Hope's vaudeville troupe and was performing with him at Lowe's Metropolitan Theater. She was described as a former Ziegfeld beauty and one of the society's favorite nightclub entertainers, having appeared at many functions and all over the country. His marriage to Reed was fraught with ambiguities. They claimed all sorts of places and times, and nobody ever, by the way, Hope never forgot his first wife, and he sent her money until her death. Dolores had been one of Hope's co-stars on Broadway, and they had a number of children. And they lived in Manhattan. In 1937, they moved to the Toluca Lake neighborhood in Los Angeles, where they would reside until their respective deaths. Now, and not a lot of people know this, but you're going to hear in a second. Bob Hope had a reputation as a womanizer and continued to see other women, throughout his marriage. He had affairs with chorus girls, beauty queens, singers, showbiz wannabes through the 70s. He was still having affairs into his 80s. He had an affair with Barbara Payton, set her up with an apartment in Hollywood, and that went sour when he wasn't able to, give her enough money or attention, and he paid her off to end the affair quietly, and then she revealed in the tell-all magazine Confidential in 1956 the whole thing. And she said he was at times a mean-spirited individual with the ability to respond with ruthless vengeance when sufficiently provoked. And he completely ignored it, and it continued to not do anything to his career. It caused a minor ripple, then quickly went away without any damage at all. He had a long time affair with actress Marilyn Maxwell that was so open that the Hollywood community routinely referred to her as Mrs. Bob Hope. He had an affair with Rosemarie Franklin, who was Miss World 1961, and that affair lasted 30 years. Yeah. So Hope suffered from vision problems for most of his life, a lot of his life. And so he became an honorary chairman for Fight for Sight and raised just tons and tons and tons and tons of money. He continued his active entertainment career past his 90th birthday with television specials and USO tours. And although he didn't do any films, he did make a cameo in the 1986 TV film A Masterpiece of Murder for his friend Don Amici, another big star from the radio days, and an Academy Award winner, by the way. A television special was created for his 80th birthday, and he was made a member of the Kennedy Center Honors. He attended the funeral of Jimmy Stewart when he was 94, and he appeared extremely, extremely frail. He made an appearance at the Primetime Emmy Awards at 95, and I believe was in a wheelchair. So at that point, he retired from public life, and he did celebrate his 100th birthday on May 29th, 2003, but he passed away just the next month. 2 months later, in July of 2003. He died of pneumonia in Toluca Lake. By the way, if you've never seen Bob Hope's home, it's spectacular. A custom built, 87,000 square feet, and it looks just like something out of a space movie. It is, of all the homes I've ever seen, that's the one I want the most. I would go through his honors. It would take another hour. He did, however, have a number of songs that charted in the top 40. Thanks for the Memory being one of them. Two Sleepy People. We're off on the road to Morocco. I can't talk today. Whoops. Yeah. The Road to Morocco was a big hit. We're off on the road to Morocco. The camel is tough on the spine. Hit me with a Band-Aid, Dad, where they're going, why we're going, how can we be sure? I'll lay you 8 to 5 that will meet Dorothy. Dorothy, I can't speak. Screw it. This is a really good song. Really good movie. Anyway, I think that's about all I have the stomach for telling you about Bob Hope. So that is Bob Hope. Let's get to your comments. Oh my God. Let's get to your freaking comments. There. Doopadoo says, Russ never sleeps. Hey-o. Going through is the worry. So far, I've convinced boss to get 2 doors in the box. Rockers worry me. God, I wish I. Terry Nee says, sorry, my priorities are on Sundays. Maybe that's off. Are off on Sundays. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's Sunday. And it's not a regular show, which takes an hour to prepare and an hour to do. It takes an hour to prepare and 3 hours to do, or 2 hours to. So it's my Sunday too. And if nobody's going to do it, then why am I? This is my question to you. Typing on phones suck. And I'm not saying that critically. I'm saying it objectively. You know, hey, you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. 100. Nice. Terry Nee. You're a good man, Terry Nee. He had good innings. He did have good innings. Dina Marie and Sunday Jenna, you're going to want to keep the lookout. Turn on those gifted memberships. Good evening, Dina Marie. Sunday Jenna, always a pleasure to see you. A pleasure and an honor and a privilege. People saying hi. We do have the most cheerful chat room on the internet. We got some kind of a chat. Oh, hey, new member. There you go. Sunday Jenna became a member. By God. Thank you, Sunday Jenna. You were always really a member. You know that. In here, in the heart where it counts. Good evening, everyone. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people saying hi. Happy to be here, says Stella. Well, Stella, veteran of the Red Rooms. And she could have been in movies in the 40s. She's a tough-talking dame that can trade it with the big boys. Happy to be here as well. Jokerfish says, hello, Sunday Jenna. Hello, Dupa. Here we go. The Wolf. When I work at Fedco, I used to order turtles for this old guy named Ziegler. He claimed he used to play golf with Hope in Universal City. He also talked about Kirk Douglas. Hope played golf with everybody. I don't doubt that guy. People saying hi. People saying hi. Terry Nee says, Joe hates me. I don't know how Joe feels about me, but he does say nice things about me. So I'm going to say, we're good. And I have tremendous respect for Joe. Joe's an extremely talented man. People saying hi. The old guy also said he was one of the assistant directors on The Wizard of Oz. Well, now I'm kind of... people saying hi. People saying hi. SG Fanboy says, Terry Nee, Joe is not a fan of boomers. Well, I'm a boomer. And I would say, from what I have been able to derive from Joe's remarks about me, he's all I'm going to say about that is this. I got my own website. I got my own merchandise store. I got my own streaming show, and I got my own podcast. Boomer me all day long. Boomer me all day long, Daddy-O. And I look like this. Wait, let's take that off the table. I thought of him like a son. Like a son he was to me. Dina says, Schwartz also helped create the Brady Bunch. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Good call, Dina Marie. You know, Terry Nee laughing so hard he's crying. People saying hi. Laughing so hard he's crying. And he thought of you like a grandpa. Laughing so hard he's crying. Laughing so hard he's not crying. SG Fanboy, laughing so hard he's crying. Randy Ramos says, Bob didn't say goodnight, Gracie. Oh, dear me. Didn't Carson have something against Hope on his show? There were rumors of that, but I think they were one way. I don't know that Hope was really crazy about Carson, but then you can't tell because they did so many things together, and Carson was famous for if he didn't like somebody, he didn't, you know. But then again, Bob Hope was at such a status that he really couldn't, I don't know. I've heard little things about that, but I've never seen any actual proof. I did not know about him being in sports car racing. Yes. What a busy guy. Yes. I remember seeing him in a film where he was a killer. Yeah, that didn't go over well. Hey, Terry. Aku says, last work update, counting 4 patches each rocker, likely to have to fabricate the bottom of each fender and pull windshield for an assistant patch in the roof. Only reason I'm reading his car stuff is I'm about to get another car, and I'm sure it will need some things done. I'm not sure, but I will probably choose to do some things to it. And when I do, I will talk about it ad nauseum. Emphasis on the nauseum. So there you go. And you can watch or hear Bob Hope on this wall of entertainment that exists at the Wolf's house. You can watch or hear from 1934 to 2003. Bob Hope didn't become famous until he was 31 years old. Now, he was kind of famous. He was a well-known stage and Broadway actor, but he didn't become movie and radio famous till 1934. So, Karen Garvey says, I didn't realize the impact Joe has on the Shuley network until he went away for a couple of days. That is one talented frog. Oh, God, yes. That show, I'm not saying those guys wouldn't still put on a great show. They're all incredibly funny people. But the things that the Frog does for that show and making the packages and the technical aspects and the knowledge that he has of all the analytics and everything else, are you kidding me? You know what he deserves? He deserves an ice cream from the Tom Gully Show Ice Cream Truck, which, by the way, does not have a song playing in the 8-track. Dan Brennan, I've really enjoyed hearing about Bob's life. Thanks for the compliment of Hollywood and Vine. Anyway. How lovely it was. Anyway. Yep, Frog is the best. He is the best. There's no question about it. The Wolf says, I watched a video about Carson not liking one of his jokes and his canned routines. Carson apparently had no choice but to put him on. Well, you know, you did not have a choice there. I mean, Carson had a thing with NBC. So did Bob Hope. No better clipper in the DV than Froggy. Well, and he monitors everything. He monitors My Lost Entry. He monitors all those side things. And I'm proud to say we've never given him occasion to use one of our clips for anything. Although I'm still puzzled why he hasn't used my Star Trek find for Vince the lawyer. That's just criminal. That's the one criticism. It's very, very minor criticism, but that's the one. Although I was thinking about it and I thought that has copyright strike written all over it. Although we didn't get struck for it, ever. So I don't know. But they might. Maybe he was just protecting the brand. Julian Zeezer says, didn't Nicholson start carrying a golf club around just like Bob Hope? I imagine. I don't know. The Wolf says, add about 2 feet to that cone and I'll buy it. Okay, and now's the time. The Wolf, when we were in college, our college residence hall dining service had soft serve in my ice cream dispenser, and he would make 3-foot high ice cream cones. I'm not joking. And of course, eat the whole thing as well. Oh, let's see here. It's because, much like my job, no one wants to hear about a tiny liar. No, it's because you're a boomer. I don't even know that I'm technically, or that you are technically a boomer. I mean, I think we're borderline boomer Gen X. We're either the youngest boomers or the oldest Gen Xers. There's just, you see different time spans for all that stuff demographically. I got blurry for a second. I got so much crap to do tonight that haircut too. Lord knows that's a 6-hour. Akkus is worse. I'm a millennial. No, he was talking about that. That was directed at me, Aku. I'm pretty sure. Well, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I don't know everything. I'm not God. Let's see. Is anybody trying to? No, nobody's trying to. The Wolf says, I don't belong to any generation. Talking about my lack of generation. Aku says, I'll take the heat. Okay. Here's the thing. I get up really early, and then I do an 8 to 5. At 5, I have to prep this show. At 6, I do the show. So I haven't done a thing all day until 7 o'clock that's in any way relaxing. So I have to have at least an hour or two of just... So now it's 9 o'clock. And at 9 o'clock at night, I have to do these things that I have to do, which will mean 11 or 12, which then means I got to get up and be ready to leave at 6. So I'm only going to get, and it's thunderstorms and rain here for the last, I don't know how long. Cats and dogs today. It's supposed to be okay tomorrow. It's just going to be 95 and humid when I'm moving into a new office space. I don't even want to get into it. Let's see. 8 to 5, then 6 to 9 or midnight. Repeat to me. 8 to 5, 6 to 9. Well, I've got kind of the same thing. And until a month ago, weekends were 8 hours on it. I mean, I didn't have a day off for like 7 months. No worries, Tom, says Karen Garvey. So with that being said, I don't know that there's going to be a show tomorrow. I don't know that there's not going to be a show tomorrow, but I don't know what time I'm getting back from the place that I'm at, and I won't be able to start gauging that until I try to get, back through Dallas rush hour traffic. I do not want to get up at 6 a.m. and do the Tom Gully show every day so I can do it. I don't want that to happen. But maybe we're just going to, I don't know, kids. I just don't know. Something will happen. Let's see. Our weather here is all over the place. Such a dull day. It was humid and hot and awful here until about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and then it just started coming down buckets and thunder and wind, and like it's done for I don't know how long. I'm getting sick. Even Columbo wouldn't be liking that, and even scary Scarlet Witch Tom Gully wouldn't like that. But who really wouldn't like it is G.I. Tom Gully in World War II with his confiscated Pervitin. He would really not like that. Let's see. My good friend Randy says, well, I'm going to be off work tomorrow, so I'll check in and see if you're on. I do enjoy listening to you. Well, you're the one. There might be, might not be. Don't know. If I could tell you, I would, but I don't know. Don't know. Thanks for the memory. So we got about 7 minutes. Anything on tonight? Is Shawnee's Zone? Anything? I don't know. I know I'm out of here at 7. So I got to get some. I got to take a nap. Used to never take naps. Now, yeah, nap wouldn't be bad. It'd be okay to have a nap. So, yeah. But we did have a nice time this weekend, didn't we? Hey, maybe I should check and see if YouTube's already nailed me for that. Oh boy, thanks for the memories. Blunder at 8:30. Wow. Nice of them not to stomp on the show today. Let's see here. Oh, I'm going to go to my YouTube studio and see if they've hammered me for that show last night. Let me just see if they've hammered me for that show last night. No, they didn't, because I deleted it. I forgot. I didn't want to get hammered for it, because they would have hammered me for it. They definitely would have hammered me for it. Oh, they would have definitely hammered me for that. Yeah, buddy. So I just deleted it. Screw it. The Wolf says, just use Pervitin and you won't need sleep anymore. No, I won't. Until that one day when I sleep for 4 days. Naps are good. Nah, I don't really like naps, but naps for me at this point aren't really voluntary. Just turn on the TV and wake up, a little drool right in the front there. Yeah. Just a little drool, not much, just a little, just a touch, a scandalous hint of drool, a scandalous hint. Let me take this down. Notice I put the old radio up here for Bob Hope. Yep. I suppose I could play the Pepsodent show thing real fast. Let's see. I should have thought that before. Pepsodent Bob Hope show. Let's see what we get here. Want to hear one from, let's hear one from 1941. That'll be during
Pepsodent show starring Bob Hope and his guest star, Hedda Hopper. Happy anniversary, Fibber McGee and Molly. Happy anniversary, Fibber McGee and Molly. If you're with me greeting or a springtime, because a brush in the hand is better.
Hold on.
This is Bob Spring Cleaning Hope telling you to use Pepsodent, and while you're making your house spick and span, you won't hear a bridge click in your pan. Or, this is Bob Spring Cleaning Hope telling you to use Pepsodent because a brush in the hand is better than a vacuum in the puss. Isn't that a wonderful joke?
He would always put, this is Bob, and then whatever the show was about in the middle. This is Bob, not going to leave here until tomorrow, Hope. You know, whatever. Pepsodent show was on forever. Yeah. He'd do a monologue at the start, and then during the monologue, somebody would come in. Hey, everybody, it's Jerry Colonna. And everybody clap, and then they'd do a little skit. They do a skit. I like skits. Here, I'm going back to that one. I'm going back to that one, by God. I'm just going to see this Bob Hope show, and just going to find. Oh, by the way, Trevor's Happy Hour. This last Trevor's Happy Hour, oh, mama. Guess what got shown again at the 1 hour, 15 minute, and 33 second mark Guess what got whipped out on that show again?
Pepsodent Show, starring Bob Hope.
Whoops.
Took the Venetian blinds down and put them in the electric washer and turned on the switch. Anybody want to buy 38,000 toothpicks? And I take this $1,000 bill.
Oh, gee, thanks, Bob.
And here's another $1,000 bill.
Thanks.
And another $1,000 bill.
Thanks. Boy, will you be in a spot when television comes in.
All right, so they're only $1 bills. Does a little number make so much difference?
Well, yes, Bob, a great deal of difference. For instance, numbers are mighty important when you're buying toothbrushes. The number 50 is the one to remember. For the new Pepsodent 50 Tough Toothbrush.
Man, they knew how to work in a sponsor, don't they? The co-joined twins got shown again. No, they're the co-joined twins. 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 33 seconds. Only had 10 views. I don't know how he's getting away with that. I guess nobody's complained is the main reason. And the algorithm couldn't recognize them as, you know. Anyway, I should have been out of here a little while ago. I'm going to get out of here, and you guys can get out of here, and you can watch the Blunder Years in half an hour. Yeah, you watch those Blunder Years. And I'll maybe be here tomorrow. I know there won't be a show on Wednesday. I know that in advance. So Thursday would be the next show if there isn't one tomorrow. Because I'm not going to step on replayables. You can get hurl on my shoes if I do that. Good night, Tom. Good night, Chad. Good night, everybody. And by the way, I think the only thing left to say here at this point is, till next time, this is old Tom, not going to be here tomorrow, maybe Gully, saying, till next time, we'll see you next time.